welcome back to another Game GBT space. As usual, I am your co-host, NFT Bossa. And man, it's been such a long time since I've actually been on this platform. I actually just came back from a 2-week space hosting hiatus, and this is actually my second space back. Yesterday, Monday, was my first space hosting back, and then today with Game GPT, running it back the second time around. Today's topic, I love this one, right? AI and reality. How important is authenticity in an AI world, right? So lots to uncover today. I'm looking forward to today's conversation. But first, let's just check in with our very lovely built panel today. First, going to the legend himself, Connor. What's going on, man? How are you doing?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Bossa. Thanks for being here with us. Yeah, I'm just super excited because this is the start to my morning on Tuesdays, so I get to get just a dopamine hit of talking to a bunch of different people about AI and gaming and cool stuff.
Dude, same, man. It's actually over here in Vegas for the week, and I would usually be back in LA in my office, but we're here in Vegas hosting spaces, so I'm really excited to tackle this as well. Connor, thank you for being the co-host as well. Let's check in with our panelists, man. How are you guys doing today?
Hey everybody, Ryan here from Bermuda. Great to be on the panel. Looking forward to the discussions.
Amazing, amazing. Appreciate you, Vrita. We also have human level Jen on behalf of Kid Protocol. Level Jen, what's going on? Pleasure to meet you. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm out in Bangkok right now, taking a break from all of the non-stop partying that would otherwise be the trip, naturally, to join the space, which is obviously the more fun option. So,
Yeah, I hope it's not too late in Bangkok. So I hope you're enjoying your time. Thanks for tuning in today's space. Looking forward to today's discussion with you. Let's check in with everyone else. We also have DIN, previously Web3 Go, with us today as well. Let's check in with them. DIN, what's going on? How are you guys doing?
Hey guys, this is Jenny. I'm the head of marketing at Ding. I'm based in Hong Kong recently, and yeah, it's late from my side. And also, thank you, Unfungible, for inviting us to this space. Yeah, I think that's very honor for us. And also, I like to mention that we are just launched our no sell today. So if you're interested in any no sell, you can click our profile photo and get to know more in our page. Thank you so much.
That's awesome. And I appreciate the intro. Thank you, Din, for showing up here today. Last but not least, we have Scale with us. Let me just check in very quickly. Scale, what's going on? How are you guys doing?
Hey, Bossa, doing well. Thanks for having us. This is Ben behind the account today. I lead partner marketing for the network. Just out here enjoying a fine start to a Tuesday morning here on the West Coast in California. Keeping it groovy vibes today. So looking forward to this one.
Dude, Ben, it's been getting pretty hot here in California, man. I can't even lie. I don't know how. I think it's gonna be a cold winter though, so hopefully summer tends to wrap up sometime soon.
Yeah, we could use you could use a little cold weather every once in a while. I have no AC, so it gets a little toasty over here.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. No, definitely, man. I appreciate you. Thanks for swinging by, man. One more reminder, guys, to everyone here in the audience. You guys want to come up on stage because I do see a lot of the homies, see a lot of new faces showing up. So if you guys want to come up, ask questions, chime in today's conversation, please do not be hesitant to hit that request button. Would love to bring you up. But look, that being said, I am ready to tackle today's conversation. And honestly, I think the title in itself is kind of a question, right? AI and reality. And what immediately comes to mind is how can AI come across as authentic, right? Especially in a day and age where technology has literally it's everywhere. I can't even describe it, right? With the boom of the internet back then, with social media and how big it is now, with the crossroads and intersection of blockchain and AI coming into everything, there's a lot to consider, and there's a lot to take in. But I'm wondering, how can brands, how can businesses, how can you guys maintain your authenticity in such an AI world?
I can kick it off and then pass it to Connor. But in general, I think authenticity is a really interesting question. We have people on both sides of the spectrum for how they use AI to create content, to ship products, to provide authenticity to their audience and to their customers. Where my head goes first is effectively where we have these AI tools able to create like 3D avatars of a content creator or any person who, or even voices. And I think that is a huge upside because it can allow you to scale content in a way that you haven't been there before if you can actually create content asynchronously. If you have a 3D AI model of yourself and you only have to provide that model a script of what you want to say and then it can be said, I think that actually it allows you to create content asynchronously, and it allows you to create 3D like video content asynchronously. That's really cool, but used for the wrong reasons, you could see how deepfake can become some type of an issue in the future. In the US, with elections coming, I feel like that may be one of the issues that we face in the coming months. But as always, I'm Devin, co founder at GamesGPT, always a resident techno optimist, and thinking that every way that AI can be used, it's going to be for the greater good. And if it chooses to be otherwise, we have a huge host of people in the AI space who I'm sure can find resolutions, find remedies for getting it the way that we want the future to be. So that would be my response.
But dude, Devin, I actually want to follow up with you with just a very quick question, right? What do you think is the current like state of AI? Do you think it's integrated in a lot more businesses and brands than we think? Or are we still in this like very early stage of AI development? And now we're seeing a lot of not even just tech companies, but other businesses across the world where they're starting to see the potential of this type of tool. What are your thoughts on that, Devin?
I think we're very early, but I'm starting to see the initial stages of like whole new industries budding out. I think the ever since COVID, but you could say even before COVID, with the, and I know I'm taking this out of the tech space, but there were huge direct to consumer brands that used influencer marketing to grow, like Gymshark would be one of them, like Fashion Nova, and a whole bunch of really awesome direct to consumer brands that really kicked off this influencer marketing wave that I thought was probably the new version, KOLs, influencer marketing, of how people effectively grow customers online. AI, I think, is going to completely disrupt that and allow influencers to create content. After effectively uploading their 3D avatar into a tool, you can actually create content without being behind the camera. The amount of content that allows you to do. And I've actually seen an AI tool that actually is partnered with 3 or 4 really big influencers and allows these 3 or 4 influencers, AI models, to promote products on behalf of those influencers, as long as you effectively are using their software and paying whatever the software fees are. This is one of many ways that I think this authenticity debate probably is really what we're going to be getting into today. So, short answer is we're right on the cusp of things. I'm happy to where it go. I'm happy to see where it goes, and I'm happy to have the discussion and the conversation with everyone to hear their perspectives on their own take for
Yeah.
where AI is going.
Absolutely. And I would love to pass the microphone around. And before I do so, actually, to your point, Devin, I feel like I talk to a lot of gaming creators, right? A lot of people who came from the YouTube, especially with VTubing, right? Where it's essentially you're not showing your face, but you have this kind of like what you're describing, right? It's like a 3D avatar model and it represents you, reflects who you are. And I wonder if, again, with the development of AI, that is probably going to play a huge role in how creators can not dox themselves, but in a way, right? You can still be behind a 3D model, show your personality, right? So from a content creator perspective, I definitely think it's a massive tool. I would love to hear from Scale, and of course, pass it around here to Human Love Jev and Jen. Sorry about that, and of course, Verita. But Scale, if you don't mind, right, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this as well, man. How can businesses and brands maintain that authenticity around them when using AI? Right, Scale, we'd love to hear from you, man. Ben, go ahead.
Yeah, and it is a tricky proposition, right? It's becoming easier and easier every single day to create a whole new persona to push out information around that is whatever narrative you're trying to push. And I think it comes down to a little bit of a almost like a mutual understanding that things are going to be utilized for good. And then also the development, like white hat AI, in a sense, of folks that are ensuring that those that are using it in a manner that's not more nefarious are being held accountable. I think if you see something, right, and I think this goes across the board, whatever it is, right, if something pushes the narrative that you believe in, you're going to believe that it's true. You're not going to have that second guess. You're not going to do any additional digging, and vice versa. If it's something that goes against your narrative, you're going to automatically believe it's AI or it's fake news or it's a deep fake or something along those lines. It's having that okay, I'm seeing an image, I'm watching a video, I'm seeing an article or something like that. Let me actually take a moment, do some double checking on things, and ensure that what I'm seeing is actually valid. But yeah, it's not going to be easy. And I'm glad that I'm not in school. I'm not a teacher. I'm not anybody that has to deal with this stuff on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and I feel like it's different for a lot of businesses, and I like the way you're bringing it down here, Ben. And look, I see Verita here with their hand up. Let me just go to them. Verita, we'd love to hear your take on this. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Bozza. And just to build on what Ben was saying, just made me think. I think we're entering this world, this phase where we're going to have millions and millions of agents, these AI agents creating for us or creating independently. And to me, there's a, depending at what level, there's how much sort of trust or how much you want to look under the hood there, like in terms of when it comes to statements of truth or facts, as you see content being generated by these agents who have their own identities. And it made me think that you almost need birth certificates for these AI agents to understand where have they come from, who has created them, and yeah, just that sort of chain of trust and verification. So I think that whole space is going to evolve a lot with different technologies and processes for doing that. And it's probably going to be pushed along by, I'm sure there'll be incidents where people take for granted something that's been shared or created online where the basis for that statement is off the mark, perhaps, and we haven't been able to ascertain how it came up with that piece of content. So it's a very interesting space, I think, as we become more engaged with agents, yeah, creating stuff.
And Verita, I have a follow-up question for you as well. Is just in the crypto space, I feel I can never say this word, man. Anonymity, right? Being anonymous. This is just like one of those things where we want to know where people, not even just like where they're from or anything, but just like who they are. Because again, there's so many grifters, so many scams that happen in this space, and just even having that simple knowledge of, okay, this is the guy behind this team, right? Kind of look into them. Do you think AI is a tool to alleviate this issue, or can it be used in a way where these grifters or these scammers can actually create like a fake persona around them? Because I see that narrative happening as well. So I'm seeing from both ends of the stick. But where do you think the benefit from AI can come out from this? Right? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that comes down to building reputation around identities and verified reputations, and there's a time-based component there versus spinning up a pseudonymous identity and then creating a whole bunch of credentials to show that identity has some kind of reputation. That's something that builds up over time. So I think that needs to exist, in my view, for yeah, whether it's at a real user or an AI agent. I think that's what you need to see. And yeah, there needs to be some kind of reputation and verifiability around that identity for that trust to be earned.
Absolutely. No, man, I agree. I would love to hear from human level Jen. And Jen, if you don't mind, just speaking on behalf of Kit Protocol, we'd love to hear how you guys are possibly integrating AI into your guys' creative processes, right? If you don't mind, Jen, sharing just with us a little bit about that. We'd love to hear from your perspective, Jen. Please go ahead.
Oh yeah, sure. The whole goal of KIP is to facilitate AI creators. What we hope is that people are going to be using KIP to do weird stuff and novel stuff. And the whole reason we got into this was because right now, kind of all of the investment, all of the VC and so on, is getting sucked up by companies that essentially don't need it. So it's the open AIs and Anthropics and so on. And it's really hard for smaller creators to even get funded to get their first couple of GPUs. We wanted to make that much more accessible and on chain. You can facilitate connections, but you can also kind of power them via line go up, which is the one way that smaller creators can actually do stuff. I guess from our perspective, we are providing models, and we've got a project coming out soon with image LoRa's, which dropping some alpha here, but yeah, character consistency, that's going to be the big thing. But our main focus is actually facilitating other people, because what we think is that, yeah, if you do decentralize, you're going to see this flourishing of ideas, just like we've seen in this space. And yeah, some of them will be messed up, or there'll be scams, or there'll be whatever, but some of them will be the next big breakthrough. And you can't really get one without the other. Yeah, it is going to get harder to judge what is a human and what is an AI,
Right.
but maybe only temporarily, I think. I think possibly in the long run, the AI is going to grow more and more of a personality of its own. So we will just start to recognize it as being, okay, that's an AI participating in the conversation, but I'm cool with that. I've got a Discord server where I have 3 bots that just talk to each other and all the time, and I drop in occasionally and I'll ask them a question. And it's already, I would say, 10 or 20 times better than just asking GPT, because when you have the 3 of them, you program them to have different personalities, and they chat with each other and they argue about the question you ask them. So you get way more information and way better suggestions. So yeah, I think we are going to see the AI kind of develop a personality.
I imagine. I wonder if these AI bots that came out during that 2021 phase of NFTs, only because Discords were popping on fire back in the day, and to see AIs kind of communicate with that and that perspective is actually really cool. A couple points here, and I see Devin with his hand up. Before I toss it over to Devin, Jen, would love to hear your quick thoughts on this. Right? Do you think with what happened with NFTs right now, where NFTs, I feel like it's still going through it, where there's this, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like I want to even say it's like a rough patch, or like this phase that this new tech, or maybe it's every new tech in general, when it's starting off, that it goes through this very, oh, I don't believe in it. Not a lot of people see the potential in it, right? Because you mentioned that it's very hard to understand AI at the moment, right? But do you think this is unnecessary? We must go through this phase of people doubting AI, people not realizing the full potential of it, in order for the years to come where AI is going to be really massive, it's going to be really successful, in order for that to happen. Jen, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the hype cycle is definitely a real thing. The NFTs come out, they get overhyped, they crash, and then gradually they're coming back in different forms. So we use NFTs for token gating, like Friend Textile, for example. And that's a nice, solid use. And I know I was just talking to people from Forbes, and they're bringing out a soulbound token and so on. And people are coming back to the functional NFTs. And I think it's probably going to be something similar in it, because I think it came out, everyone got super hyped, and you had all these startups saying that they're going to do legal AI and medical AI and so on, and they did scoop up a lot of investment, and then people started to realize, oh shit, we can't use AI for anything that requires a human to be sued if something goes wrong, basically. So that was a downer. But then yeah, I guess we are gonna, AI will find its own level. It's the capital and the innovation will adjust.
Absolutely. I agree. I think AI is obviously a little bit more broad and used than NFTs at the moment. So 1000%, Jen. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing, by the way. Yeah, Devin, I will toss it to you, man. Devin, please go ahead.
Of course. Yeah. So I wanted to actually bounce off an idea based on what Jen had, not her most recent response, but the one before that. And it was this idea of what it came to mind. The light bulb that went off in my head from her response was like the Turing test, right? Like for the longest time, all of technology was shooting for this huge goal called the Turing test. And the Turing test was basically this: when you can talk to a computer and it be indistinguishable from a human, that would be when technology has crossed the Rubicon, when technology has gotten this huge kind of leap and it starts propelling into this area where we didn't really have a forecast, or we didn't really know where things were going. I would say literally from the 70s until when OpenAI came out, that was like the goal. And when it did come out, and about when ChatGPT 3 came out in November of 2022, it pretty much smashed the Turing test. And no one really talks about it that much. I think it's because AI has been like an all encompassing thing, and everyone's been focused on all of the things that it can do, that they just almost like slyly moved past it. Pretty much indistinguishably passing the Turing test. It may not be able to pass as like the smartest person ever if you're talking to it, but I would say on average, if any human was talking to someone else on a computer, it could be AI, and you not actually know that it wasn't just another human on the other end. So because of that, I think that is probably like the first stepping stone in trying to understand like data verification and what is real and what is AI generated on the internet. I'm really excited for it. And one of the cool intersections that we have with AI is blockchain. Blockchain is literally a technology to centrally verify information, right? So the intersection between blockchain verifying information that is credible and real, and AI being able to generate information that could be human generated, human influenced, or completely AI generated is, I think, going to be something that I'm looking really forward to. Like Jen was alluding to, I think NFTs to verify this information. And I think as we get, when not just written content could be made with AI, but video content and audio content and every type of content you can think of, I think blockchain verification of content is where the future is going to go. We'll see. We're still a little bit of a ways from that, but I'm really excited. We have I don't know if you follow Balaji. He's really awesome. He sits in the corner of tech bro, but also like crypto advocate, and he has a podcast called the Network State Podcast. There's a very small island country called Palau, just off the coast of the Philippines, and they have a passport that is an NFT. You can actually just verify on the blockchain who you are within that government, and your passport almost what is an NFT as well as just a physical copy. So I think the world is going to shift towards this area. It already is. It's going to be very slow, and then it's going to be very fast. And I'm really excited for it. I think AI is just one other way that blockchain can be used, and I think it's going to be important. I'm looking forward to the intersection of both technologies, and I think it's coming sooner than we think.
Connor, I see your hand up here, man. I would love to hear from you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to piggyback off of two ideas that I heard because I think they were both really good ideas. I don't remember who said it, and I apologize, but the AI birth certificate idea, put them on the blockchain. That's basically my only idea because I wanted to piggyback off of Devin's. When the AI is created, it has to be created with blockchain, and it creates an NFT that is essentially its birth certificate, and it has all that information in the metadata.
Dude, that would be actually, I think that was actually Verita who said that idea. I would love to see that.
There you
Yeah,
go,
I would
Rita.
love to see that expanded, honestly. Verita, you got to let us know when you start building that, man.
Putting it on the roadmap tomorrow.
Now we know exactly where that idea stemmed from. It's from today's space. Devin, I actually wanted to come back to you real quick. In the perspective of gaming, right? Because we're talking about how AI can communicate with one another, right? Do you think this can help provide that social element that sometimes is missing in a lot of these gaming communities per se? Or do you think AI, when it comes to, I don't know, like these bots or whatever it may be, right? Do you think this can actually improve the way we interact with the technology in itself without even understanding like, oh, this is actually AI? We don't even realize it. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, gaming is like its own world, right? I wanted to stick away from gaming in the beginning, but I think just because gaming is an AI is, I think, used a ton. But I think now that we're going in this direction, I have so much things to share. Just because obviously that's what we're doing. Game GBT is an AI model to help other people build blockchain hyper casual games, right? I think, I mean, literally just going back to the Turing test, right? If the Turing test is this test where a human can talk to a computer and not know that it's a computer, there are probably some negative connotations that you can take to it, but also some super positive connotations that you could talk to it, that you can think about as well. That means an AI, if trained correctly, could be a therapist. That means if an AI trained correctly, could be a personal assistant. But also inside of a video game, that means that it could be a companion. That means it could be an NPC. That means it could be a vendor. That means it could be all of these people, that these playable or non-playable, actually it has to be a non-playable character, that interact with the game, could be much more experiential as compared to before, where in a video game you only have a set number of lines and a set kind of like a quip that they talk about every time you maybe enter and exit the shop. You actually can have a personality, a full conversation with pretty much anyone inside of a world of a video game. I think that makes things much more immersive, and that adds another level that no one has really thought of or done yet in gaming. The modders are always the first people who think of these things. So one of the first things that actually got modded into Skyrim was a ChatGPT mod, where you could actually hook up ChatGPT into your companions and effectively talk to them just ad infinitum about anything, and ChatGPT would actually speak their responses as you type them. Take it to VR, and you can actually like talk to your AI companion, like your companion in Skyrim, and then it would actually just talk back, and you can have as long as of a conversation you need. This also tilts another direction towards replica and these like AI companion apps where people could actually talk to them, whether it's a friend or wherever the rabbit hole you want to go with. I think AI is definitely going to be used to make games more immersive and to have a deeper level of connection and human interaction that never could have been or has never been done before. So that is one of many ways that AI is, I think, contributing on the gaming front. And as we are refining our tech, there's going to be more and more. But I definitely want to get things going in that direction.
I actually want to go back to Verita. And Verita, I want to do a slight pivot to the discussion. And I'm just wondering, how is AI different in the terms of creating systems and businesses, right? Does it actually speed up the process? Does it make things a lot more easier? Maybe you yourself can speak from experience, right? Verita, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I think for me it goes to the fact that there's just so much work to be done, and we're limited as humans in our capacity to get all the jobs done. So the fact that we can have AI assisting us, doing jobs for us in all kinds of different capacities, and that can also include entertaining us and being participants in the world of gaming from a perspective as a creator of those worlds and a character in those worlds as well, or someone on our team or an assistant. So there's so much scope for jobs to be done by AI to help us achieve more individually and as businesses as well. So I'm excited by that, and I think we'll as this sort of infrastructure and tooling becomes more mainstream and refined, we'll see this sort of explosion of experimentation. And that's where it really gets interesting and sort of goes back to our sort of earlier discussion around that authenticity and verifiability of these agents who might be doing that work in the first place. There's other things obviously around sort of privacy and things like that as well, which are very important, and that goes to the core of the Verita focus in our technology development as well. So yeah, I think that answers some of the question.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. And it makes you wonder too, right? Like in the creative process of anything, does AI actually take out that organic approach to it, or is it actually used as a tool, right? Because one kind of fills in the other cup, but then on the other end, right, we can see how AI once again can kind of be used to speed up the process in a way where it doesn't feel like it was a hands-on type of job from a team, but it's more so of this tech that kind of did the work for them. And so again, just thinking on a more of a broad zoom out creative process, right? Do you think that AI is a more of a tool or is it more of a cheat code? And look, I would actually love to hear from Ben on this and on the behalf of Scale. And Ben, if you don't mind, how does the organic approach to product creation change when AI is involved, right? What are your thoughts on that, Ben?
Yeah, my belief is if used correctly, it's a tool, right? It's something that helps the smaller team achieve more. It helps the individual contributor achieve more. I personally use it on a daily basis to help with a lot of the writing that I have to do, not because I couldn't do it on my own, but I'm still providing the structure of it, but I need that little bit of support and actually filling in the gaps, right? And the speed at which things can get done. It's there to aid and assist, in my opinion. It's there to use as a tool to help you complete your tasks, to fill in the gaps faster, to be able to move on to other aspects of your job or what you're building in a much faster manner. And it shouldn't be relied upon. And I think where we see the issues across the board is when people trust it too completely and utilize AI and then just move on because they assume that it's done correctly. And you still, right now, as of now, you're still going back in, you're still correcting, you're still making adjustments, you're still having to do all the little things almost in like an editing style of thing. But it does a first pass or a second pass at things is, I think, where we're at. And I think it's a great place to be in because you still have that human element that's involved.
And this is where it gets tricky, right? Because let's say that a customer or a user is interacting with your product, right? Should they be feeling like an actual human is behind this, right? Whether that's interacting with an NPC, whatever it may be, right? Or do we actually want that transparency of hey, like this is actually an AI bot, right? Do we want to be sharing that with our customers, or is that more of it's one of those concepts, right?
Yeah, when I think a lot of the stuff that we're doing these days, right? Like if I'm playing a video game and I'm going up to an NPC, like I am 100% fine knowing that's an AI created bot. But we all still have that time, right? When we call customer service or we're trying to get a hold of somebody, like a plane's gotten delayed, or we're trying to check in for some sort of like medical checkup or something like that, and we're not sure whether we're dealing with an AI agent or a human. You want that human element in certain industries. And I think over time, we're going to figure out what those industries are versus which are the ones that we're more comfortable dealing with AI agents in.
Yeah, no, 100%. Ben, once again, thank you for sharing, man. I just realized too, it has been 45 minutes in today's discussion. I've been really enjoying this. I'm actually taking some notes down myself on how can we exactly use AI in a way where it comes off as authentic, right? So, real quick, to everyone here in the audience, thank you guys once again for listening to us. If you're enjoying it like myself, make sure you interact with that space link, bottom right button, like, repost, comment, bookmark, anything you guys can do to show love. That would be very much appreciated. Look, I think we have about 15 more minutes left, and that opens up to at least one more question that I have for the rest of the panelists, and then we'll look to wrap up here. But one more question to everyone here. I'll just toss it around to all the panelists. And I'd actually love here to start with Connor. And Connor, just a very broad question, right? I want to know everyone's take on this. What will make AI stand out amongst other tech in the next 5 to 10 years, right? What is it about this emerging AI narrative that's going to make it stand out? It's going to make it become sustainable, right? It's going to be here for the rest of our lives, essentially, right? Connor, what are your thoughts on just making sure that AI stands out in a unique perspective?
I think what's really going to make it stand out is what's made it stand out basically since ChatGPT basically dropped in, I think Devin said November 2022. It has exceeded people's expectations, and the rate at which it's continued to progress, and not just ChatGPT, but other LLMs, other tools. Like I don't think anyone expected us to be where we are only 2 years after ChatGPT launched, and people in 2010 definitely didn't expect us to be here for another like 50 years. So I think it's literally just the time. People are going to predict what's going to happen in 5 to 10 years, and I can guarantee you everyone's wrong because it's going to be such a massive explosion of technology that I don't think people have a very good grasp just on the sheer unpredictability of what could happen. If that makes sense. People can make really good guesses, and it seems like people have been wrong a lot of the time on it. And I think that's what's going to make it stand out. People are like, it can do what? It can do that? What's happening? Okay, and it's just going to be so unfathomable that it's just going to inherently attract attention the way it already has done.
I can already foresee the future conversations we'll have on these spaces. Wait, what did you just say? This can do what? No, for sure. And again, maybe once again, I think you answered it, Connor, right? We're so early that it's hard to put a timeline on when all these things are going to happen. But dude, Connor, appreciate you once again sharing today's space. Let me go right back to Ben here. Ben, same question, my friend. What will make AI stand out amongst other tech industries? What are your thoughts here, Ben?
Standing out from other industries right now, that's where all the money's going, right?
True.
From a simple perspective, being here in the Bay Area, every VC, every investment firm, all they're looking for, all they're trying to get their money into is AI. And because it has that explosive potential, and I agree with the last statement, right? What we see and what we think is going to happen, we have no idea. I think that's the beauty of it, and also the terrifying aspect of it is it's going to just explode and go in directions that we haven't even thought of at this point. But I guess you just strap in and go along for the ride and try to make the best of it.
Gotta take advantage is what I learned every single time there's a new emerging trend. But dude, Ben, thank you for once again sharing in today's space. Shout out Scale Network. Jen, would love to go back to you on the behalf of Kip Protocol, right? What will make AI stand out amongst other tech industries? We'd love to hear from you, Jen. Go ahead.
Fingers crossed it'll be the intelligence explosion. Let's go. Let's get an AI that can get smarter than its training set. Yeah, I have faith. I think it's going to happen. Otherwise, we're basically there. I think it's clear this is the new tech wave. Essentially, it's the new Google or whatever. I think probably the way you see it most right now is just the way that it's completely transformed not just tech, but the way that people think about the way people think. So many times since transformer models got going, and I've been in this pretty much before the transformers were out. The AI will do something, and we come up with these criticisms saying, oh that's wrong, it's just responding to its training, blah blah blah, and then go outside and see a human doing the exact same thing.
Burrito, if you don't mind, man, kicking us off once again, the same question, right? What will make AI stand out to you? Right? Curious to know from your perspective, is there anything that you're seeing, different angles?
I think over the long term, for me, it's like, how will AI improve quality of life for people in their respective country and nation? How will it lift productivity rates across economies, or will it? So I guess there's some of the bigger sort of macro questions. Will it lift rates of GDP, or will it not? It's hard to know the answers to these things, but I feel it will become more pervasive across all industries. And then will it be available for everyone, or will we have this sort of concentration of access to AI, or will we have a bit of a democratization of it, and more sort of equitable access, which I certainly hope for. So yeah, definitely some big questions, but I think it's going to have certainly have a big impact as as business and users become more comfortable using AI, more trusting of it, and as technologies become more adapted to various use cases for those industries, and can allay concerns around privacy and IP leakage, and there's lots of very nuanced issues there for business that still need to be solved.
I appreciate your takes throughout the entire of the space discussion today. So please swing by more of these game GPT spaces in the future. We'd love to
For
have
sure.
you back on. But yeah, Rita, shout out to you. Devin, gonna go to you, man. Same question to just get into the closing statements of today's space. Before you do, I want to give one big shout out to everyone here in the audience for literally just listening to us in the past hour talking about AI and reality. You guys could have been in any other space, but the fact that you're here means a lot to myself and to the rest of the panel. But Devin, that being said, man, same question, right? What will make AI stand out amongst other tech industries? Curious to know from your perspective, Devin. Go ahead.
Yeah, of course. And I love this one. I think a quote that encapsulated what a lot of people have said previous to me is from Paul Graham. He's a founder at Y Combinator, tech OG. And his quote was, at a local level, an exponential line looks like a straight line. And to break that down a little bit, when you look at like an exponential growth curve, right? Like it's in the beginning, very small increments of growth. But once you build out years in the future, you're basically at a vertical growth curve. Like it's little by little, and then all of a sudden you're growing 50% month over month, 100% year over year, and growth is happening at a level that you couldn't even fathom. But when you look at this at a very small level, and when you zoom in on where you are right now, you can't see the exponential growth curve. It looks like a straight line. So I think that's where we are at the moment. Whenever AI is probably really hard to predict in the next 5 to 10 years, but it's probably a little bit closer to predict in the next like 1 to 3 years. In terms of where I think we're going, I think personally that LLMs are going to be really awesome at making code. So what happens if everyone has a tool that can write code for them in their pocket? I think goes into a lot of different directions. I think software and enterprise software, but also consumer software, really has to go through a revolution if every person who is moderately, I guess, usable or savvy can write code at a, I don't know, maybe junior engineer or intermediate engineer level. I think that does some really awesome things for anywhere that code is being used, whether it's to do daily tasks, whether it's for automation, whether it's for developing games, whether it's for really the possibilities are endless, right? Another thing that people don't consider with AI is that AI is multifaceted, right? Like LLMs are really good with written language, writing responses in whatever language you want, and that includes code, or it includes English or Spanish or whatever language you may speak. But AI is also used for sensor technology like cameras, and that's really helpful for things like robotics, right? And I think that is probably where the future is going in the not maybe 1 to 3 year future, but the like 5 to 10 year future. So, what I believe Scale and Veridio were talking about, what that does to productivity, not in a bit level, but on an atom level, where you get out of like this digital ecosystem and you get into the analog world where people are actually building real things. I think robotics opens up huge potential. Just like people who write code, it opens up for potential now. So I'm really excited for the future and where we're going. Obviously, we're building games with it, right? Our AI model writes the code base for our hyper casual games. It generates the 2D and 3D assets for those games, and then it synthesizes those information into a usable game engine like Unity. And that's how our hyper casual games are made. The every week almost or every month, I'm really excited on the new tools that are coming out that can make what we're doing better and more efficient and effectively streamline the process of just game making. So I know everyone in other industries are probably going through the same thing where they feel like they need to keep their hand on the pulse, their ear to the ground, to figure out just what the new thing is on the rise and what's coming. Just, I don't know, whenever I got into crypto in 2020, I felt that I couldn't miss a day. Something always is happening, and I really need to see what's going on. I feel like that right now in AI, and that just every day has me really excited. And that's probably where I'd end up on. Obviously, that's probably where I'd end out the space. In terms of Games GPT, we have some awesome things coming. We just announced that our challenges program that allows people to create peer-to-peer skill-based wagers on some of the biggest games in the world is live with 8 extra games. If you look at the tweet in the Jumbotron, you can now create skill-based wagers that settle on the blockchain for Dota 2, Counter-Strike 2, PUBG Mobile, PUBG Steam, Destiny 2, Clash Royale, Brawl Stars, and Chess.com. We're going to go live with sponsored tournaments in all of these games over the coming weeks, so stay tuned to social media for that. Not to mention some new AI generated games coming out in our arcade and in our mobile app that's soon to launch by the end of September. We have a ton of really awesome things coming soon. And one final time, would love to and just say thanks to everyone on the panel. I think it was an amazing conversation where we got to cover a breadth of topics, going from gaming to outside of gaming. I hope everyone in the audience enjoyed the conversation. We do this every week. So if you'd like to jump in next time, you know where to find us.
You know exactly where to find us. Have to play that one more time. Guys, my last request to everyone here in the audience, if you're not following Game GPT already, please go ahead and show them some love. And of course, to our amazing panelists, from Connor to Scale to Jen to Verita, please share them a follow as well. Stay up to date with what they're building. And that being said, this will be the official wrap up of today's space. It's been a phenomenal hour. Thank you guys for kicking off my day here in Vegas. I'm ready to tackle the rest of the day. That being said, this will be the official wrap up. I wish you guys an amazing rest of your day, morning, nighttime, afternoon, whatever time it is. And I will see you guys in the next space. Peace out.